Sports Chaos with Dame. Y'all know the vibes we hear. This time we coming to y'all with some college football talk. The college football playoffs, conference championships all go down this weekend. It's going to be some big games, meaningful games, a lot of big time football. If teams want to get into that playoffs, they may have to just secure a win this week. You got teams just barely on the outside, waiting to see what happens. Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? Will they still have an opportunity to get in the playoffs? It's a lot of chaos going on. And of course, all that starts with BYU, the number 11 team in the country, and Texas Tech, the number 4 team in the country, both 11-1, playing the conference championship. I know for teams like Miami and schools like that just on the outside currently, they're wanting a team like Texas Tech to win. So that way they can move up, because if BYU loses in 11-1, they will not make the college football playoffs. I think that's just a fact. If they win, they would for sure. Then the problem would be, does Texas Tech drop enough to then, have one of them teams that didn't play in the conference championship? I don't believe they would. I think Texas Tech is good regardless. So if you're a team on the outside looking in, you would want Texas Tech to win this game, so that way BYU would fall. Now, to some people, especially fans of the team, you would always say, well, do you really get disciplined for playing in the conference championship? The answer to that is yes, because as we see with the college football playoff, 12 teams, is hard to really get the best 12 in, if we're being honest, because all it takes is to have one loss, 2 losses at the wrong time, and you could literally end your season, which is still a very good season. It's just unfortunate you don't get to make the college football playoff. However, I do think that Texas Tech wins this game. I think Texas Tech's defense is just too good, too fast, too physical, and I think they're going to give problems to the freshman quarterback Bachmeier out there and BYU, although he's been playing pretty good all year. He only has 14 passing touchdowns, so it's more of like a scrambler guy. Of course, with the running back Martin, they've been a good tandem in that backfield, but I think Texas Tech's defense will just be too much, and their offense will be able to, of course, put up enough points to keep BYU at bay and win that game. And then it gets interesting, because, of course, that opens up some doors for some teams that may be behind BYU. Of course, that's why the game has to be played, though, so we'll see how that one goes. And then Georgia-Bama, another interesting matchup, because, of course, they played earlier in the year. But the thing is Bama currently has 2 losses. One of those losses is to Florida State, which, if they get 3 losses, will that one bad loss be held over their head and they end up not making the college football playoffs due to them losing an SEC championship? I think that would be kind of tough. However, I do truly think that there's a way that it can happen, considering they have 3 losses. And if you look at a team like Texas, for example, that would only have 3 losses but don't get to play in the conference championship, and you compare their resumes, how would that shape out? You have teams that have 2 losses that are on the outside looking in. If they were to lose as the 9 seed and end up getting 3 losses, do they not fall 3 spots for 1 loss as their 3rd loss of the year, although they're playing in a conference championship? It's a lot that goes into this. Bama did get the win earlier in the season on the road at Georgia, I believe. But I think that Georgia will come out and win this game. I think this is a game later in the year. It's going to be on a neutral field. It won't be home or away. Although they did lose at home earlier in the season, like I said, I do think that Georgia will come out and win this game later in the year, playing good ball. I believe they're 2-point favorites. This is a game that's super, super tricky, because, again, you don't know what they would do with Bama if Bama was to lose. However, they are in the SEC. The SEC is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that it would kind of be fair to Bama to get knocked out, but at the same time, I would understand it. But like I said, I'm going Georgia in that one. And then number 2, Indiana, Ohio State. I'm going Ohio State to win this one. I think Indiana's finally ran into their backs with this matchup here. They are playing good ball, but Ohio State is Ohio State. So this will be a true test to see. I mean, the number 1 and number 2 team in the land, somebody's got to lose. They're both undefeated. I think it's going to be Indiana. But again, we'll see what happens, because it's Mendoza versus Julian Sand. This could be for Heisman. You never know. So let's see how this goes. But I'm going with the Buckeyes to win that one. And then the weird one of the entire weekend is Duke versus Virginia, because we know if Duke wins this game, ACC champion will not be in the college football playoffs. If Virginia wins, they could very well secure their spot. The question is, if Duke wins this, does this help Miami, and help Miami for whatever reason end up surging in as a team that's on the outside looking in with the bye? I don't know. This is a super close matchup. My heart tells me Virginia is going to win this game. But when Duke comes to play, Duke can be a very good team, and Virginia is just not like solidified as one of them ones. So this game can really go either way. I see right here, that UVA is actually 4-point favorites. So you would expect them to win the game. I'm actually going to go Duke to get the upset here. I think that Duke, like I said, neutral field, when they come to play, Mensa's pretty good. Their cornerbacks are pretty good. In Virginia, they've won some tough ones. They've lost some ones they definitely shouldn't have lost in ugly fashion. So you never truly know what you're going to get. They're 10-2 though. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm actually going to go Duke to get the upset in that matchup. And then that leads into the next thing, because that means the college football playoff gets super, super interesting, because of course they currently have Ohio State is the 1, Indiana 2, Georgia 3, Texas Tech 4, excuse me. And then you have Oregon 5, Ole Miss 6, A&M 7, Oklahoma 8, Bama 9, Notre Dame. 11, of course, is BYU. Or no, I'm sorry, 11 and 12 would technically be conference champions, so they're open right now. But per rankings, BYU would be in there. Now the thing is we've talked about it. This is going to be my prediction for the college football playoffs based on what I think was going to happen here. And then, of course, after this, we can revisit it to see the real college football rankings based on what my projections were, based on who I thought was going to win these conference championship games.